It was another awesome trading week this past week. Here's a few trades from the daily market breakdown videos with the Diamond membership. Now let's get right into this week's Forex Forecast. Alright, starting the Forex Forecast off with the US dollar index. The past week the banks got rid of 559 long positions and they also added 127 short positions. Now that is the COT Report Spreadsheet that I am looking at there, just so you guys know. It tracks the bank positions. So the dollar has been very, not tricky lately, but it has become more clear. If we do a top-down approach, you guys know I've been talking about the powerful momentum we have seen in the DXY on the weekly chart just going up. But obviously this past week, it's been a pretty bearish week. This is a pretty large red candle looking at the weekly chart. So that is definitely a negative sign for the dollar. Now continuing with our top-down approach, looking at the daily chart here, we recently broke the lows here. I don't call that a downtrend, but what I would say is that the momentum is certainly down right now. I definitely agree that the momentum is down, at least in this sequence of trading. I would definitely agree that the overall momentum is up, but we are currently getting a pullback. Now the problem with this pullback is we have downtrends on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart right now. So where are we pulling back into, right? I really don't know. I do not see any quality supply demand zones on the way down. We do have a few little areas here. So as far as longs go, we pretty much need to see, we'll go down to the lower time frame, but basically we are almost in free fall mode. I don't know if we're going to get all the way back down to like the 100s. That's a pretty big move. But as far as the lower time frames go, let's take a look. So on the 4-hour chart here, we have a pretty nice 4-hour downtrend. High here, low, high, new low. So that is a pretty nice 4-hour downtrend. If you look, we have a few supply zones here on the 4-hour chart. If we do pull up to here, like, it's definitely possible we see the dollar, you know, maybe we rally for the next week. I mean, we have seen such a big move down that it's definitely possible we start to rally up. But it's very important to ask yourself, well, where are we rallying into and what is the trend? Well, in my opinion, I see a pretty strong looking downward trend. And if we start to rally up, we'll be rallying right into a very strong supply level at 105.93. We could easily see moves off of any one of these supply zones. So we definitely need to wait for these supply zones to be removed as far as like a high quality confirmation here in the dollar. If you go to a 1-hour chart, again, we have a nice 1-hour downtrend with the supply zones here kind of more refined on the 1-hour chart. But at the end of the day, the trends are so strong to the downside that I think looking for trades in the dollar to the downside on day trading timeframes is going to be completely okay. As far as our confirmation long, like I said on the daily chart, there's really no daily demand down below that's so good that I'm saying, hey, once we pull back to, 104.5, I think that's where we're going to turn around at that daily demand. That doesn't exist. So when that happens, if you think the dollar's going to go up, what we need to see is on the 1-hour chart, this start to turn around. If we can get at least that to take place, maybe we remove this supply and the downward trend line, get something like this, a nice 1-hour uptrend. At that point, I think day trading long would be okay, the dollar. But remember, we still have the 4-hour supply zones above to get rid of as well. So it's definitely a tricky situation on the dollar. But at the end of the day, with 1-hour downtrends and momentum to the downside, I think that looking for shorts on day trading timeframes on the US dollar pairs is going to be okay. And like I said, reminder, we could be pulling up back to 4-hour supply to get a push down again. So just because, let's say we rally on the dollar for a few days, it doesn't mean that the dollar's strong again, especially if the overall trends are to the downside on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart. So as far as the dollar goes, guys, 4-hour, 1-hour downtrend, that basically is saying day trading shorts are going to be okay on the dollar as long as we have that 1-hour momentum and, the 1-hour and 4-hour supply zones are holding. On to the forecast for the Euro US dollar. The past week, the banks got rid of 4,735 long contracts, and they also got rid of 4,871 short contracts. Now, I'm pretty sure from all the way back down here, I was saying if we do pull up, we're probably pulling up to this supply at 1.07 on the daily chart in the euro. But remember, this supply zone has been tested once, twice, almost 3 times. Barely tested, though, so I think it could be one of those times where maybe we do turn around here. On the euro, the overall momentum is down on the daily chart, so this could just be a temporary pullback. But if we remove this supply zone, since it's already been proven to be supply, I honestly think that it's pretty all right for a confirmation. So if you remove that, that would be a pretty bullish sign on the euro. So if we remove this daily supply, that would definitely be a bullish sign, at least for like your swing trading long positions. But remember, obviously the opposite of the dollar. We do have day trading time. So the 4-hour chart, 1-hour chart, the uptrend, we have uptrends. So that means that day trading longs are going to be okay. So if we do pull back down to this demand at 1.0634, this would be my pullback area to look for longs at on a lower time frame, looking for confirmation entries. And if you don't know what confirmation is, I have plenty of videos on my tips playlist here on YouTube about confirmation. So if you pull back down to that zone, I think it's decent. And there is a little 1-hour zone here. It's not bad at 1.06. The problem is it's so close to the 4 hours zone. I think we could just pull back down to that and then rally up. So this is a decent little 1-hour zone at 1.06 on the euro, but I think extra day trading confirmation could be good, and we could look for like a quick scalp in that zone and look to take profit somewhat early, because at the end of the day, if we do get that deeper pullback, I think we are probably going to pull back down to 4-hour demand. So like I said, 4-hour, 1-hour uptrends, day trading longs, all the way. But remember, we are into daily supply, so that adds a little bit of confusion into the mix. So if you are bearish, you could be viewing, hey, we're at daily supply right now, we could be looking for shorts. And if you have that view, that's fine, but we need to start to see a shift in momentum like this, pull back to a 1-hour supply zone and get the trade like that before we even really consider shorting on like a 1-hour time frame. So daily supply is in control. We could be looking for those confirmation shorts, but look, guys, 1-hour trends, 4-hour trends to the upside, I think it's day trading longs all the way until we can get to see that momentum removed. And if this daily supply was fresh and, it wasn't tested and it was a really, really good supply zone, I would definitely be saying, we definitely got to hold off on longs right now, even on day trading timeframes. But since this supply zone is pretty weak, I am kind of expecting it to break. So I know it's a little bit confusing, and I have gotten some hate comments on here. Oh, your analysis is so confusing. You're not telling me exactly what to do. You're not telling me exactly to get in long and exactly get in short. Well, guess what? There's different perspectives to have, and I like to help people with different perspectives. Some people are going to be bullish. Some people are going to be bearish. So that's why I'm saying on the euro, if you are bullish, we need to wait for pullbacks to demand, and if you're bearish, we need to wait for this demand to be removed for confirmation. It doesn't really, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's longs 100%. There's no reason to short, because that's the other thing too. If it's day trading longs, it could mean swing trading shorts, right? It's confusing, but at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong. You can have your own biases, and I like to kind of point out both sides to kind of help out everybody. So hopefully I clearly displayed what I would do for longs and what I would do for shorts. But remember, when we have a 4-hour and 1-hour uptrend or trend, that means that we could be day trading with that trend. When we have a weekly and daily trend in the same direction, that means we can be entering on a 1-hour or a 4-hour chart with that trend. So it's all about the trends on the time frames to know what to do, in my opinion. All right, on to the forecast for gold. The past week, the banks added 9,584 long contracts, and they also got rid of 4,456 shorts. Remember, on the weekly chart, we are at the high, and I'm not one to say, oh, we're at the high, it means we're going to drop. I think that's a little too obvious, and if it was that easy, we would all be millionaires, in my opinion. So yes, I am expecting to see it struggle to get to here, especially since this is pretty much all-time highs on gold. We're definitely going to struggle to, break above 2,100, let's say, which is, up here. We're definitely going to struggle. I don't think it's going to be super easy. So with that being said, how do we actually go about and trade gold? Well, on the daily chart, we will do a full top-down approach. I was hoping and kind of expecting, actually, for price to pull back down to this demand at 1929. And I still think these are good areas to look for your swing trading longs at, even this demand. So we have three pretty nice demand zones on the daily chart for pullbacks on gold. And since I think we are going to struggle, to really break up, what that means is that like the large players at, that are in this market, like the big banks and institutions, they could be actually pulling back deeper to kind of buy more down here to get a bigger entry and then push up, right? So I'm just saying that is what we could see happen. Now, on the lower time frames, at least in the 4-hour chart, we really haven't seen much momentum change. I was encouraging, people that are in the Dime membership, we should still, in my opinion, be looking for longs here since the trend is up, indicated by my arrow. So in my opinion, we need to be looking for longs, but there was actually some short plays to take into effect. I was telling members, if you think that we are going to pull back down to this daily demand down here, it means that we could have been looking for shorts down to that daily demand zone. And we actually caught a beautiful little 1 hour supply zone short here. This was a zone I pointed out to members from the daily market breakdown video. We got a nice short from that zone. I actually pointed out the one above, and we are currently reacting off of that zone as well. I'm not really expecting this one to hold based on price action, but we did get a beautiful trade off of that zone, a little more than 3-to-1. So that's from the daily market breakdown videos. And if you want access to those videos on a daily basis, check out the Diamond membership. We have video lessons, the daily market breakdown videos, Sunday Zoom meetings, which have been amazing lately. We've been talking strategy. I've been answering questions for all the members. It's been absolutely amazing. So if you want, check it out. If not, it's all good. If you don't want to join, that's completely fine. I completely understand it. But it is there for those of you who want my breakdowns on a regular basis throughout the week, because I only do these forecasts every Friday. And, gold could break out of here and create some new zone, and I might point that one out to the members as well, kind of like we got that nice trade off of this supply zone as well. So links are in the description down below if you are a serious trader and you want to learn and get these daily market breakdowns. In my opinion, it's one of the best memberships out there. I know it's my own, but for the price and everything you get, I think it's top notch. So check it out, links in the description down below. As far as gold goes now, like I said, we are either waiting for that pullback down to demand on the daily chart. Let me get the price again, down to 1929. So we'll go back to the 1 hour chart here. So 1929, that's a pretty deep pullback. It's all the way back down here. So we either need to wait for that, in my opinion, or on this 1 hour chart, if we can remove this supply and this high, that would give us a trend again on the 1 hour chart. And that would be a fantastic indication that, hey, maybe we should be getting in long on day trading timeframes. So for now, we are going sideways and kind of seeing some evidence we are turning around. That's why I was encouraging potential shorts at that 1 hour supply. So now this supply is reacting, and we need to see this supply removed for extra confirmation that the trend is going to continue and that we won't be pulling back to daily demand. So the question now is, are we pulling back down to daily demand? Let me know in the comments down below what you think is going to happen here on gold. Are we going to break down to daily demand, or are we just going to shoot up from here? I honestly don't know. I like to kind of guess these things just for fun, even though there's really no reason to. And it's hard to guess. If we broke this low here, that would give us a 1 hour downtrend, and I would say I think we're going down to there. In the meantime, a little bit of evidence is in. We are going sideways. That is some sort of evidence that we could be going lower. So we need to monitor this supply and this high to see what takes place on gold. So as far as gold goes now, it is tricky to trade. Unfortunately, the trades have already kind of taken place here. That's why the daily market breakdown videos are so great, because they come throughout the week, not just once a week like these weekly Forex forecasts. But as far as gold goes now, in my opinion, it's looking strong. I don't blame you for continuing to look for longs with how strong it's been and everything that's going on in the world. I definitely don't blame you. I just want to give you guys the best type of confirmation that we can look for to continue to look for longs in gold. It's either another leg up followed by a pullback to look for longs, or a pullback all the way down to 1929 to daily demand. All right, on to the forecast for the USDJPY. The past week, the banks added 10,896 long contracts, and they also added 6,677 short contracts. So remember, they are overall long here on the USDN as far as the banks go, and that's why we've seen such strong momentum to the upside, in my opinion. So we haven't quite broken the supply, but look, it's so tested now. The momentum is so strong that I honestly think we need to continue to look for longs here in the yen, following the top-down approach. We are into this some sort of daily demand here. I really don't like this pullback into this demand. It could be one of those times where the pullback is so aggressive we just rally back down to here and continue to go up. But if you look at this overall trend line I have on my charts, we are pretty far away from the trend line. Obviously, yes, we do get overextended, then we kind of pull back to the mean. And I think that's what we are having here. So we could kind of just pull back and continue the move up, the overall wave. So as far as the daily chart goes, yes, we are into daily demand. I don't really like it, and I don't really like trading at tested demand levels. So really, as long as we have this daily trend, I think looking for longs is going to be okay. If you guys remember the last couple forecasts, I've hated the USDN lately. I mean, we had really clear zones along the way up. I was really looking forward to trading it, and I mean, just huge wicky price action. It's just been junk. Wick here, wick, crazy move up. At least when we broke this high here, the price action became a little bit more clear. But look how quickly we rallied back in. in my opinion, it's just so much manipulation. It is really tricky. I really do not like trading the pound at this moment. I mean, look, we have a 4-hour uptrend. I think favoring longs is going to be okay. But I mean, look, I'll be straight up with you guys. I think looking for looking for trades in other pairs is going to be much, much better. Okay, we have a 4-hour uptrend, pulling back into demand, trend lines here. Yeah, we could look for longs. Do I advise it? I don't know. It's a little tricky, even on the 1-hour chart. We've clearly lost momentum, and it's just so choppy. I really hate it. I know I'm just kind of repeating myself here, but you know, if going back to the daily chart, if we break this daily demand, I wouldn't worry about it if you're long. Really, as long as we are respecting this upward trend line on the daily chart, I think looking for longs, you know, anywhere in this area, like I said, as long as the trend line is being respected, is going to be okay. And how we would do that would be, you know, looking for confirmation, at least in the 1-hour chart. We don't really have a downward trend line right now. We do have some sort of momentum, you know, so if we start to break up again, create that 1-hour uptrend, I think that's a pretty bullish sign. I think day trading longs would be okay at that point. But in the meantime, we have momentum to the downside. I don't see any reason for really getting in long on a day trading time frame right now. It's kind of counter trend. Yes, like I said, the 4-hour trend is up, but it's just really tricky. And I mean, the USDN lately, I've been waking up every day, not even really interested in the USDN. And it's interesting how in trading, it depends on how long you've been trading for. You know, I know day traders, I like to trade one pair only. I'm a swing trader. I like to trade a variety of different pairs. And it's funny how some pairs for like a whole year will be fantastic to trade, and then others will be, it's not even on my list. And I mean, for a while, the USDN was just great. For those of you who've been following me for a while now, you guys know I've been extremely bullish the yen this entire time, saying longs, longs, longs this entire time. And lately, I mean, I still think it's longs, but it just hasn't been as obvious, and it's just been really, really choppy. I think a lot of people are getting stopped out, and it's really tricky. So as far as the USDN goes right now, I think there's better options to trade. But with the trends being up, I think favoring longs is still going to be good and the right thing to do. We just need to, you know, see evidence that we're going to continue to go up again, because like I said, the US dollar kind of took a pretty big dive this past week. So we definitely need to start to look for confirmation on the lower time frames. All right, on to the GBPUSD forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 3,407 longs, and they also got rid of 1,672 shorts. Starting with a daily chart here, we will start out. I actually missed this supply zone, just drew it in. We reacted off of it nicely, just broke it, creating this demand at 1.21 on the pound. So, in my opinion, we are clearly breaking out, looking pretty strong. We obviously have trends on the lower time frames. This is essentially a 4-hour uptrend. It's really not great. And we are actually at this 4-hour supply zone. I think we could see the move from this supply zone down to demand at 1.22. If you are going to trade this, you know, remember, the momentum is up, the trend is up. This is a counter trend move right here. So trade that with caution. I think looking for confirmation on a lower time frame could be okay to do this. It's definitely a risky, I'm just going to short this supply right here, stop loss, take profit. In my opinion, that's a little risky based on the trend and the momentum being so strong. So if you are going to look for shorts in here, I think looking for confirmation on a lower time frame is going to be good, and be aggressive with your stop losses or take profits, however you guys manage your trades. I think that's going to be good. And hopefully we can get that move down for a pullback down to demand at 1.22, or then we can look for longs here on the pound. All depends on your view on the dollar. But look, momentum is clearly up. We essentially got confirmation on the 4-hour, 1-hour, and really the daily chart as well. The problem with that, though, is on the weekly chart, the direction is not clear at all. I mean, the momentum is up, but we lost momentum, so we're kind of going sideways. I'm really hoping we can break up here. I know that would be a huge move, but that would be a weekly uptrend. I love trading with weekly trends, especially as a swing trader. It just makes trading so much more easier. So when we have a sideways market like this, it's difficult for swing trading. I'm not going to lie, but I mean, at the end of the day, we clearly breaking out on the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, and the 1-hour chart. So in my opinion, like I said, 4-hour supplies and control. Yes, you could look for shorts on day trading timeframes, but with the breakouts to the upside, we definitely. I don't know if we want 100% favor longs. Like, oh, I'm so bullish, because even on the daily chart, there's really no trend here. It's sideways. Yeah, okay, we broke out. but you know, that doesn't mean we're going to go to all-time highs or whatever, obviously, right? So it is tricky right now, but I think looking for confirmation on day trading timeframes is going to be your best friend. It's going to save you from a lot of losses, in my opinion, especially if you are shorting against this momentum. So again, shorts confirmation going to be needed. Even for longs, confirmation would be needed as well, but some pretty quality demand zones here as well on the GBPUSD. On to the USDCAD, my home country, in case nobody knew. Just wanted to let you guys know. And the longs for the CAD, the banks added 3,785 longs, and they also added 3,092 shorts. So we are at the high here, and I was saying last week, we could definitely see the USDCAD start to just react to the downside based on us being at the high. It doesn't mean that we're going to, not break the high or that we're going to go all the way down here, but clearly we are seeing some downward pressure. And on the daily chart, we actually pierced through this daily demand. I'm not too happy about that. I was actually expecting this daily demand to hold. It's pretty much picture perfect. It's a pretty decent basing, nice move up, decent pullback into demand, respecting the trend line. I definitely thought it was going to hold, but look, not everything holds. Sometimes zones just break based on different factors. But as long as we have this daily uptrend, I still think looking for longs is going to be okay. We did essentially create supply up above at 1.384, so we definitely have this supply to get through later. But if you want to get along, we have a clear profit target to about 1.384 on the daily chart. So as far as trading it goes now, there's definitely a few options. If you think that this daily upward trend is going to end and you really want to get in short, I get it. I totally understand it. I respect it. I don't know if that's going to take place, I'll be honest. But if you think that, that's fine. And I'm going to give you my personal advice if you want to short. We have two supply zones at 1.377 and a little bit of a better one at 1.382. These are two decent supply zones. We could see moves off of any one of these supply zones on a 4-hour chart. You could look for confirmation on a lower time frame as well. That is really the only way I would short. If we pull back to any one of these supply zones, that is the only time I would short. And as far as longs go, it is risky because there's no real daily demand here that we are pulling back into. So it's definitely risky. We either need to wait for daily demand to be hit at 1.35. Even that's not great. Or if you want to get aggressive with longs here, we really just want to see this downward momentum line removed. That's definitely, it's only a momentum line. It's really not the best confirmation. But if we get something like this, that's definitely our first sign that, hey, maybe we are continuing to go up. So if you want to get aggressive, the breakout of this trend line would be your entry, essentially, to continue to go up. So as long as the downward momentum line is holding on the 1-hour chart, I think we're going down. And then once we break it, I think that's a good sign to potentially get in long. But remember, that's only if we have this overall daily upward trend line and this trend line is being respected. So as long as we are floating above this trend line, I think looking for longs on that 1-hour chart, like I just pointed out, is going to be okay on the USDCAD. On to the forecast for the Aussie US dollar. The past week, the banks added 4,787 longs, and they also got rid of 3,184 short contracts. We are going to do a top-down approach here on the US dollar, or sorry, on the Aussie US dollar. I think that's kind of important here. We do have, this weekly demand. It was almost removed. It's a tricky one. I'm gonna hold it here. So in my opinion, this weekly demand is still being respected. Obviously, we're pushing out, and it is an overall monthly demand as well. That could be a reason we are seeing a nice push up here, but wanted to kind of give you that approach here. A weekly demand is in control, but on the daily chart, we have a pretty convincing and pretty strong daily downtrend. But obviously, right here, it's pretty bullish, and we have a very clear profit target to daily supply at 0.66. Now, this could be for another forecast, who knows? Maybe next week, but I still think that this is a decent little daily supply zone to look for a little short, maybe a swing trade or a day trade inside that daily supply zone. I really like this supply zone at 0.666. Hate to say 666, but it is at 0.666. So that daily supply, clear profit margin to the upside. And the good news is we actually have trends on the lower time frame. So coming off of weekly demand, clear profit margin on the daily chart to the upside. I mean, it couldn't be any more clear that we should be potentially looking for longs here, on the Aussie US dollar. And as far as pullbacks to demand, we have a 4-hour demand zone down here at 0.644. That's a decent area to look for longs at, and even lower at 0.63. I think that is also decent as well. So two little 4-hour demand zones there on the Aussie US dollar, and very clear profit margin, like I said, to the daily supply zone. So if we do get those, I don't know about chasing price. Look, we have a 1-hour uptrend. So yeah, I think looking for day trading longs on a 1-minute, 5-minute chart, they could be okay, even at these high of prices. It is kind of chasing. So we either, want to be day trading on those time frames, or, waiting for a deeper pullback down to 4-hour demand, just like I pointed out earlier. So again, that's all going to revolve around the dollar, the DXY chart as well. If you go back and watch the dollar analysis, that's very important. So like I said, pullbacks to 4-hour demand are definitely going to be good for potential long trades. And then as far as shorts, guys, I get it if you want to continue to trade short with this overall daily downtrend, but we either need to wait for the supply to be hit or wait for a significant shift in momentum here on the 4-hour chart. So if we get something like this, if we go back to the 4-hour chart, if we get something like this where we remove both of these zones, leaving us with a quality supply zone on the 4-hour chart, I think that would be a sign to short. But as long as these two zones are holding, I think it's longs all the way here on the Aussie US dollar. USDCHF forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 1,104 longs, and they also got rid of 919 short contracts. So I just wanted to point out a trade that we got from the daily market breakdown videos, just kind of want to walk you guys through it. So going sideways here in the daily chart, it's not easy to predict where price is going to go, but when we have clear areas to look at, we have clear profit margin. So I was telling members that we had clear profit margin down to daily demand at 0.893, and we actually found this beautiful 1-hour supply zone at 0.90 right here. I mean, look at this move from here. Almost no drawdown, 5-to-1 achieved, no problem. What a trade of that 1-hour supply zone from the daily market breakdown video. So just want to say congrats to the members that caught that trade as well. What a move down. Almost no drawdown, take profit hit, not almost immediately, but very, very quick, especially for a 1-hour chart. So what a beautiful trade off of supply. Just wanted to show you guys the power of supply and demand. It is truly, truly incredible. So we now have a 1-hour downtrend. That's a good sign. I think looking for trades on a lower time frame, 1-minute, 5-minute chart is going to be okay. If we do pull back up to this 1-hour supply, it's decent. If we can get there sooner than later, I think it's better. But as soon as we start to, if we take our time and kind of break above the trend line, I think we could break out. So we kind of want to pull back quick and down. So that's really all I see here on the USD Swiss. But at the end of the day, guys, 1-hour downtrend, that really means that we could be looking for shorts on day trading timeframes. And even on the 4-hour chart, it's not a confirmation really, but it is some sort of 4-hour supply. So this could be a 4-hour supply zone. You refine your entry in on a lower time frame as well to trade down to demand at 0.892. So USD Swiss, not super clear as far as direction other than the 1-hour chart, but when I see clear, profit margin down to 0.893 on the daily chart, I think, hey, maybe we should look for shorts, and that's why I was pointing out that 1-hour supply to the members. So unfortunately, that trade's already worked out, but with the 4-hour supply zones above and clear profit margin down to weekly and daily demand, I still think looking for shorts is going to be okay. And as far as longs go, I don't think looking for longs is going to be okay until we at least get a 4-hour uptrend, and then at that point, I think looking for longs is going to be okay. All right, last but not least, we are on to crude oil. The past week, the banks got rid of 12,748 longs, and they also added 25,759 shorts. This has been a tricky chart to look at, I'm not going to lie. I thought that this, you guys know we caught this beautiful trade down here to supply, and I thought that was it. As soon as we broke the supply, I said, hey, I think oil is going to go up, going to continue to go up, and I was wrong, and that's fine. We actually have a daily downtrend now, so that's not good news for oil. Only good news for oil, if you are bullish, is the fact that weekly momentum is essentially up. I think we could be pulling back down to like $77 a barrel maybe, and then rally up from there, creating a weekly uptrend. I think that is the move we could see long term, as far as a 6-month outlook or whatever you want to call it. But look, at the end of the day, we are clearly pulling back. We have pretty strong. We actually have a 4-hour downtrend. It's pretty much more of a daily downtrend, but we have a 4-hour downtrend. We have supply above at 83.40. We could see a move off of that supply. If you do pull all the way back up to here at 88.69, it's also a decent zone, but kind of a bigger pullback. So kind of sketchy. But at the end of the day, 4-hour downtrends. 1 hour downtrend. It's shorts all the way, and I actually pointed out this 1 hour supply zone to the members in the Diamond membership for the daily market breakdown videos as well. So what a trade off of that zone as well. So that trade's already kind of taken place. We did have supply at 84.79 as well. That's a decent zone, and I still think it's a good zone for potential shorts. Kind of a trap setup here as well. So I still think that's a good zone up there at in the 1 hour supply zone. So oil, a little bit tricky, but look, trends to the downside on the 1 hour, 4 hour chart, and even the daily chart. So I think looking for shorts is going to be okay down to, like I said, like the $77 a barrel mark. So look, it's in my opinion, it's pullbacks to supply on day trading timeframes all the way here on crude oil. And if you guys want to watch the full length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.